This is the J. Scott Outdoors podcast on Western big game hunting and fishing, brought to you by GoHunt.com Insider. Research faster, hunt more. Go to GoHunt.com/insider and use the J. Scott promo code when signing up to receive a $50 KUIU gift card. I'm your host, J. Scott, and I live and breathe hunting and fishing, spending half the year in the field experiencing God's creation. I hope you'll enjoy hearing about our adventures. Guys, welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. Today we have an episode with Parrey Cremeans from California, and I've known Parrey for a few years, and he runs a guide and outfitter operation up in Redding, California, and it's going to be good to talk to him about hunting opportunities in California. Before we get to that, I wanted to remind you that the New Mexico big game regulations, all of the applications are due by March 23rd, and we've had a couple of podcast episodes, one with Adam Bronson and one with Tom McReynolds about applying for New Mexico. So make sure you catch those before you apply, but you have to have your applications in by March 23rd, they're online applications, so make sure you do that. Also, looking forward here, the Go Hunt Insider Colorado mule deer strategy article just came out, and for those of you that hunt Colorado, you need to understand that the season dates for deer in Colorado are about as late as they get. The second rifle season dates are October 22nd to the 30th. The third rifle deer season is November 5th to the 13th, and the fourth rifle deer season is the 16th to the 20th. So these late dates are going to provide some incredible deer hunting in Colorado. So if you haven't cashed in your points, this might be the year to do it in Colorado. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. If you're a Go Hunt Insider member, make sure to check out the application strategy for Colorado. I've been pounding over my Colorado options and looking at all the different draw odds. And I will say the draw odds on Go Hunt, that the new resource with the draw odds and the filtering 2.0 is a phenomenal resource. Check it out, gohunt.com/insider. Guys, yeah, Colorado's going to be a fantastic year, and they've kind of had spotty moisture. If there's parts of the state, I'm looking here, eastern parts of the state just got hammered with moisture. Kind of the Gunnison Basin and what have you is, 50 to 90% of normal. So definitely not huge snow years, but I think the late dates are going to make some awesome mule deer hunting. Guys, let's get right to this episode. Oh, one more thing. Last night we had the Desert Christian Archers National Wild Turkey Federation turkey seminar. Dar and I put on a seminar, and we had a great turnout. Had a lot of people come up and say they listened to the podcast, and just want to thank all the people that came out and supported the Desert Christian Archers. And I felt like we had a good seminar on turkey hunting and a lot of good video and a lot of good questions. So thanks to everyone that came out. And let's get right to this episode with Parrey out of California. Welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. Today we have Parrey Cremeans from Redding, California, and Parrey has been a hunter for a long time, and I can't wait to talk to him about different adventures. He hosts the site justforhunting.com out of Redding, California. And Parrey, how you doing?
Good, Jay. Good. And how's things in Arizona?
Pretty good. I can't complain. I just got done with the desert sheep hunt here, and I've kind of got some downtime here before we go to Mexico. We're going to be down there kind of the 7th through the 23rd time frame to try and catch as much of that Coues deer rut as we can, and so I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm cherishing a little bit of the downtime that I've got. I am usually on the run like you are, and so getting some real estate work done, and getting some podcast interviews completed and edited, and life is good. We're kind of hoping that we're in an El Nino pattern. It quite the moisture from Baja. It hasn't quite come up for us yet. I'm going to be curious to see how you're doing. I know California's been in a severe drought. What are your weather conditions over there?
Yeah, well, it's kind of ironic what you mentioned, and three of the things you mentioned. Desert bighorn, Mexico, and the moisture. We have all three of those. And right now, we're actually, the last week has been really some really good rain, which we are not only deserved but necessary to have that. So it's looking good and positive, And then back to the desert bighorn. Believe it or not, and folks are they don't really have an idea what California has to offer on big game, but big game is of all different species. It's pretty plentiful in California, including desert bighorns. I'd have to say California has probably one of the best populations of desert bighorn sheep. And I was actually fortunate enough to draw one of the random tags in 2011 and harvested a nice 172 and 5/8 ram. Once in a lifetime hunt, which was awesome. That's just one of the many things that California has to offer.
Yeah, I was actually born in Visalia, California, and I've got family over there, and my grandfather was a rancher in the San Joaquin Valley there, kind of in the Visalia, Fresno, Exeter, Woodlake kind of area. And, it is, yes, it has a couple of really big towns, but honestly, a lot of California is real rural, and I just love it. I do a lot of turkey hunting in the spring, and a trip that I've taken my nephews on for, probably the last 7-8 years, maybe even more since they were little, is that the last Saturday in March always is the, spring turkey opener in California. And, the hills are just green as can be, and quite the contrast here from Arizona, and the birds are gobbling, and they're already going there in March, and we usually have a phenomenal hunt. But I mean, you guys have hogs, you have blacktails, you have mule deer. I mean, you have basically a ton of big game animals. And in your own personal hunting, Parrey, what do you hunt most there?
It's kind of nowadays, like you said, in trying to run a business, and just for hunting, with all the different hunts we do internationally as well as locally, we run all of our own hunts, black-tailed deer, mule deer, elk. California is the only state that has 3 species of elk. And we do tons of hog hunts. We probably do, that's probably the majority of hunts we do, just because it's an all-year hunt. There is no season, there is no limit, and when folks are bored or looking for something to do in the off season, everybody wants to go shoot a hog. So fortunately in California, the population of hogs is abounding, but at the same time it's mostly private ground. So we have some landowners that finally have figured out that hogs are a great revenue, and year after year after year. And with the government continuing to take things away from ranchers and tax benefits and agricultural stuff, they need some way to supplement themselves for property taxes or something of that nature.
Yeah, and you've got quite a bit of hogs around that Redding area. Are most of the hog hunts, say, within an hour's drive of Redding?
Oh, yeah. In fact, most of them are within 15 to 20 minutes of Redding. And, I get guys that come. We do mostly 2-day hunts for hogs, and if someone wants to come early, like the day before, we'll try to hunt them that evening, give them an additional hunt, and quite often, we're done that evening. We'll leave Redding at say 4:00 and or 4:30, and and we're done hunting by 5 o'clock, which, we either get an additional hog because they just go get another tag, or, we have predators or something else we can hunt. We do a lot of, like you said, the turkey is just awesome in California, and we do some hog turkey combos. Our turkey season here in California is over 5 weeks long. It's like 6 or 7 weekends for rifle season, shotgun season, and then we have an additional 2 weeks for bow and arrow season.
Yeah, and there's a lot of turkey hunting opportunity, and I know I follow your stuff in the spring, and it seems like you're always posting pictures of a combo, turkey hog combo, and showing a client that's gotten their pig and gotten a couple turkeys. It's pretty cool that California is a 3-bird state, although you can only take 1 bird per day. Are the turkeys, would you say, in the Redding area, just steadily increasing, or are they staying the same, or is the population decreasing? What's the status of the turkey population?
Just like any upland game birds, it goes up and down depending on weather, predation, etc. But we're finding that keeping the pigs under control on most of our ranches really helps the turkeys. Pigs seem to, raid the nests and eat the eggs in the, early summer, late spring. So just keeping the pigs in check and, the population, at huntable numbers, but still not overburdening on the habitat is really key to keeping our turkey populations up. Plus, we've had, folks talk about California being in a drought. And sure, we've been dry under our normal rainfall, but it's timing of rainfall that really is critical for game. And we'll get some late spring rains, and that's really hard on the turkeys if we get a ton of rain in late May, early June, because that floods the nest. And a lot of times they'll have a second cycle nesting, but if that gets flooded out, then we lose the whole brood of turkeys.
Yeah, that's too bad. Would you say the turkey hunting as well as the hog hunting, is that turkey hunting properties that you have all within 15 to 20 minutes from Redding as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's actually mostly the same ranches. Most of our ranches, in fact, every ranch here in Northern California houses hogs and turkeys, as well as black-tailed deer, bears, some of the predator hunting and coyotes and whatnot. And we do a little bit of upland bird in the form of dove and quail, but not a whole lot. Most of our upland bird is turkey hunts, and mostly the spring. As the spring is the best time, in my opinion, anyways, because that's when the breeding's going on, and and it's all about the show. Everybody wants to hear the bird gobble, come in strutting, and just enjoy that.
Yeah, for those people that aren't very familiar with California, kind of give me a geography lesson on where Redding falls in relation to some of the bigger cities and maybe how far away driving time it is.
Sure. Well, and a lot of people that recognize me from the outdoor industry, hunting industry in general, they'll always remember me because I overspecify Northern California. And, people will talk about Sacramento being Northern California, and in our opinion, Sacramento is like the cutoff. That's Central California. Redding is what I call Northern California, anyways, and it's really we don't want everybody to know and want to move here because it's really a beautiful place with mountains and streams and lakes and whatnot. But we're 2 hours north, a little over 2 hours north of Sacramento, and just about 2 hours south of the Oregon border, to give you an idea, and 3 hours, 150 miles inland of Eureka at the ocean. So it's right at basically the end of the Central Valley, and right where the Cascades and Sierra Mountains and everything comes together.
At GoHunt.com, we are restoring the heritage of the old and constantly redefining the new. We stay focused and put our efforts into redefining the future of Western hunting. What makes us special? What makes us different? We are the new breed of hunter. We are the customers that we serve. We are the innovators, and we are the future. Visit GoHunt.com/insider and join the movement.
Use the J. Scott promo code when signing up and receive a $50 KUIU gift card. Since 1982, the Outdoorsman's in Phoenix has made it their goal to provide the very best customer service combined with the latest and greatest optics and accessories in the business. Outdoorsman's is the leading designer and manufacturer of high-quality tripods and mounting accessories for any hunter's optical needs. Go to outdoorsmans.com or call 1-800-291-8065 and use the J. Scott promo code until February 28th to receive 10% off all Outdoorsman's packs and pack accessories.
Gotcha. And do most people that come, do they fly into Sacramento and then drive, or is there an airport in Redding?
Yeah, there's actually an airport in Redding, but I usually recommend flying into Sacramento and driving, simply because Redding is a small airport, single plane. They'll fly in United only, so you have to go through San Francisco. So in going through San Francisco, there's just usually not good flight times. There's only like 5 flights coming into Redding. So if you go to Sacramento, grab a car. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes to Redding. And not that you need a car to get around in Redding, because it's a pretty small town as far as finding places to eat from wherever you stay. But it's just an easier route getting from your destination to time-wise.
Gotcha. Looking here on your website, justforhunting.com, and it's got Northern California blacktail deer hunts. Tell me a little bit about you guys' blacktail hunting, and maybe run me through the seasons and different weapons and quality and what have you of those hunts.
Sure. Enough. I mean, the blacktail is kind of, you asked earlier on what my personal preference is. And, I really, obviously as a hunter, we enjoy any hunting, and we make good of all of it. But probably my preference would be, if I had to give up everything and hunt one species, it would be black-tailed deer, and probably spot and stalk bow and arrow black-tailed deer in one of our wildernesses. And California really has fairly lucrative tag options for black-tailed deer. Our west side deer, just like all the western states, we have this Boone and Crockett, Pope and Young boundary where the west side of a given line is supposedly true Columbian black-tailed deer. The east side is, what they call a hybrid or crossbreed. Oregon calls it a Cascade buck. But we get a mix of both on some of our eastern stuff, because we're, once again, 15 minutes out of Redding, and on some of our premium blacktail ranches. And we shoot deer on those ranches every year. We have a private land management program, so we hunt to the end of June. And every year we shoot over 160-inch blacktail deer regularly.
Wow. When is the season again for that, Parrey, primarily?
The archery, our private land management, which is, once again, a highly sought-after tag, we start August 1st. We finish November 30th. And that's for that entire season, it's any weapon. So we get our local deer, and every ranch we have, whether it be on the west side, the true blacktail side, or the east side, they all have, once again, a lucrative season. The nice thing about the private land management is you just trade in whatever tag you get, so you don't have to draw it. And on our west side stuff, it's all what they call the B zone in California. It's over the counter, but once again, what they've done in California, they've limited the tags on that over the counter. So they've been selling out somewhere around the end of September every year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 'cause you can actually go over the counter and buy 2 tags for that blacktail unit on the west side.
Interesting. And for those listeners out there that don't really know the difference between a mule deer and a blacktail, tell me what the differences are or supposedly are.
Yes, I like how you emphasize supposedly are. Because there's, I would have to imagine, and I've talked to a lot of biologists trying to figure this out, and even Boone and Crockett now has a program where you can DNA your deer if it's shot on the east side, and if it comes out 100% DNA true blacktail, they'll put it in the book for you, which is great because the idea of any type of SCI, Boone and Crockett, Pope and Young, any awards program is about the animal. It's not about the actual hunter. So it's good that they put to the animal. But the difference being, obviously mule deer, a bigger animal, 250 to 300 pounds, compared to a black-tailed deer, 150 to 175 pounds as a good mature adult deer. Although we get some bigger ones, with age, fortunate thing is we're able to age our animals via teeth. We send in our teeth every year and age them, make sure we're shooting the right animals. We're attempting a management program, which is, really not very well known out west. And the fact that we have private land and a program, we can actually do that. We choose what deer to shoot, and our local deer, we gauge those and know which ones to shoot for sure. But every ranch we have also, that's the nice thing about blacktail and mule deer, and this is what brings the mule deer and the blacktail together, is both sides of the marker, the boundary, have migrating deer. So toward the middle to end of October, the deer start working their way out of the mountains. Some go as far as 100 miles or more. Some just a few miles, but they migrate in. So the nice thing is you're having different deer come in and different deer breed. So you never really have to worry about the genetics getting too close.
Gotcha. And do you hunt blacktail every single year?
I do, but I've got to the point, when I was younger, and I'm sure you were the same way, and that's how we got to where we are, is because we loved to hunt so much and we pursued it. I used to go out and, for the first, I think it's about, 38 years now I've been hunting these blacktails. So, and in that 38 years, I've pretty much learned, every migration route, where the more mature animals come from, and where the best options to hunt are. So, with that early on, the pursuit was really there. But now having a business to run and, trying to help out others and show them the success that I had, show them the right way to get into blacktails or mule deer, whatever they want to hunt, elk for that matter. Taking them hunting is just as good for me. But every year I get tags for California as well, and if there's if I need some meat for the freezer and there's a management buck that we need to thin out, or there's an exceptional specimen that a good mature animal that I want to hunt, I'll give that a go as well.
Nice. I see here you've got black bear hunts, and it looks like there's also some pack trips in the wilderness area for black bears. You got big bears?
Oh yeah, we actually, before we jump into bears, you were asking about the seasons, and I gave the broad season for blacktails of our PLM, but actually our summertime hunting here, when I call it summertime because it's August, the third week of August, the blacktail season for bow and arrow starts, and it runs till about the second week of September. Then they get a week break. And the third weekend in September, the gun season for blacktail starts, and it goes till the last weekend in October. So that gives you an idea of the general seasons for over-the-counter public land hunts. But the nice thing is, and when you mention black bears, I would say California, and I would put them up against any state as far as population of black bears, and it's everly growing each year, just because I think 2012 was the last year that we were able to use hounds for hunting bears in California, and obviously hound hunting is pretty much 100% deal. High 90s up to 100% usually, we used to do like 2 or 3 day hound hunts and have 100% success. Now, without the hounds, the bears obviously are a nocturnal animal. They roam a lot. So we have spot and stalk bear hunts. There's no baiting, no attractants available for bear hunting. So what's happening is the quota for California used to get 1,700 bears a year. The quota is still 1,700, and they're shooting anywhere from about 800 to 1,300 a year. And most of that is just deer hunters, because the deer season and the bear season run together. So it's just guys out deer hunting that run across a bear and feel they want to shoot one. And most guys, and I don't know how much experience you have with bear, but I'm sure you do a little bit down there in New Mexico and Arizona, possibly Colorado. But bears are great eating. They can be big animals, but boy, they're something to tend to in the woods. So
when you get them down, it's not as fun as it was hunting them, is it?
No, not at all. And that's we all know that's part of the work. Once the species hits the ground, the work starts. But most guys that are deer hunting, they go out and they shoot a bear, and we have big bears here. We regularly kill 400-pound bears every year. And once they deal with that bear, greasy as they are, they've had enough of that for a few years, and then they might shoot another one after that. But most guys, one bear is enough. You have some guys that are just bear hunters, and that's just what they are, and that's fine too. I love bear meat myself as well. And we try to do our best to keep them thinned out, especially in our wilderness. I mean, if you're up there bow and arrow hunting, that's why we have the pack trips, because you're in a ways, 3, 5, 10 miles, and you shoot a bear. There's in the summertime here in the bow and arrow season, it could be 80 degrees up there. There's no way you're going to get that animal out without having it spoil. So with stock, at least you can get it, cut up, quartered, and all that onto the horses and get it out in a day and get it on ice.
Utah Hydrographics is in the water transfer printing service, and they are open to whatever you can dream up. Choose from a wide range of camo patterns, designs, and colors. Whether it's guns, bows, tools, rifle stocks, vehicles, steering wheels, fenders, dashboards, paint guns, fishing rods, cups, tripods, watches, knife grips, helmets for a local sports team or for your motorcycle, picture frames, mailbox, animal skulls, you name it, they can probably do it. Utah Hydrographics loves taking things that are general looking and turns them into something that looks fantastic and eye-popping. Give them a call and see what they can do for you, and receive up to a 10% discount by using the JScott16 promo code. Visit them at utahhydrographics.com or on Instagram at Utah Hydrographics. Whether you are interested in elk, deer, antelope, bighorn sheep, or moose, Western Hunter and Elk Hunter magazines will bring the adventure to your mailbox. These publications feature articles on the finest hunting gear, tips and tactics from experienced hunters, field judging trophies, glassing techniques, calling strategies, and much more. To become a more knowledgeable and skilled hunter, subscribe today. Go to westernhunter.net/jscott and enter your email address for a chance to win a $1,500 credit towards any Swarovski product.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Parrey, in the right circumstances, you guys, before those snakes hibernate as well, you are covered up in snakes. Don't you have quite a bit of snakes around?
We do, and I mean, you're in Arizona, so snakes are snakes.
Yeah.
You just figure out where they are, and you'd like to think you look for them, but you really don't. I mean, you're looking. I think what saves most hunters is you're looking at your feet, you're looking out in front of you, you're looking at your feet to get your footing. So you're usually going to see them. And if it's a snake that's going to bother you out here, rattlesnakes is the one we look out for. They're going to let you know if you're too close. And usually they're not going to strike unless you're really intruding on them. And they're going to scare the daylights out of you, and you're probably going to have to go find a rock to sit on and recover for a little while. But it's really not that bad, because you know when to look for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys also offer some fishing trips, I believe, off your website just for hunting. Tell me what other packages you guys provide, throughout the world, including fishing and other destinations.
Yeah. Well, with just for hunting, and you mentioned Mexico, we also have, I mentioned that we run all of our own hunts here in Northern California. We also run our own hunts in Mexico. We have a just under 70,000 acre ranch out of Hermosillo, and we run desert mule deer, coos, and desert bighorn there. And the desert bighorn in Mexico is really popular right now. In fact, this year we shot 3 rams between 172 and 183. It's a
really good.
Yeah, it's really good for anywhere for that matter. And our sheep hunts in Mexico, just to specify, they are enclosure, but it's 12,000 acres. And that 12,000 acre enclosure, if you can imagine, I tell most folks, if I'll take you to the middle of the enclosure, I'll spin you a few circles. If you can shoot your ram and find your way back to where we started, why, I'll give you the hunt. which I'm sure I'll get some takers on that one, but it's just kind of a to give a scenario of how big 12,000 acres is. But with that Mexico, we have also some, and you also have some Gould's hunts yourself, and Grand Slam turkey hunting is pretty popular right now, so we offer that as well. Turkey hunts in Florida, Mexico for Gould's, Northern California for Rios or Merriam's, and we do some Eastern stuff as well. So, and believe it or not, California has 3 species of turkeys as well. We have Merriam's, Rios, and Easterns. Unfortunately, the Easterns aren't recognized here just because there's not enough of a population. So National Wild Turkey Federation, they don't recognize the Eastern in California. But,
interesting. Right there around Redding, is it mostly Rios? Because I know where I hunt, it's Rios, but where are the Merriams at?
Yeah, we're mostly Rios here in the valley, but within an hour and a half, you can be into Merriam's. And within an hour and a half, you can also be into Easterns. Going west, the Merriam's, you go east up in the high desert where our mule deer populations are, and most of our Rocky Mountain elk are located. And once again, as far as options we have, we're around the world, and some of our best fishing trips that you spoke about. We have a giant bluefin tuna trip that's out of Nova Scotia. It's one of those bucket list deals for sure. It's, go up there and it's pretty likely you'll hook into and bring to the boat, a fish between, 600 and 900 pounds. Incredible.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's incredible sport fishing. It is mostly catch and release, although there is some programs where the captains of the boat have tags to where you'll actually harvest the animal, or the fish, sorry. And when that happens, at least you get that hero shot with the fish. Otherwise, it's a lot of the fish are, pull up to the side of the boat and release.
Yeah.
Which is great to keep that resource going. But I've been on that trip myself, and trust me, don't let anybody kid you that there's a shortage of giant bluefin tuna up there, because, we had literally hundreds of them, boiling at the edge of the boat.
Wow.
And we do.
Wow. I'm sure a 900-pound tuna will let you know he's on the other end of the line for sure.
Oh, it's like pulling up a Volkswagen bug off the bottom of the ocean. It's crazy. And we do some albacore tuna, salmon, halibut, and bottom fishing off the coast of Oregon as well. So it's and that's fun stuff. We, like I said, it's on the website we try to list everything, and we're continually adding more stuff as far as hunts around the world, whether it be Africa, New Zealand, Canada, and all these little spots as well. We try to, and our motto is kind of, cater to whatever the adventure and hunt that the customer wants. So, we work with enough guys that and we have friends in the industry like yourself that if someone wants a particular hunt and we don't offer it, well, we'll be able to find it for them for sure.
Have you guys heard about PhoneScope? PhoneScope is a privately held company that makes custom-molded, precisely engineered smartphone digiscoping adapters. Photographing wildlife has never been easier. Take digiscoping photos and videos from your smartphone and share them with your friends. PhoneScope stands behind their product with a 100% money-back guarantee. PhoneScope is the future of digiscoping. Get yours now. Use the JScott16 promo code and receive 10% discount on all purchases. Check them out at PhoneScope, that's PhoneSkope.com, or on Instagram at PhoneScope. Wilderness Athlete is committed to improving the health and quality of life for the outdoor athlete by providing field-tested, scientifically validated nutrition and sports performance products. Check them out at wildernessathlete.com and use the JScott promo code to receive 10% off any order in February 2016.
Absolutely. That's great, and I'll make sure that you give your phone number as well for people to contact you, but I guess they can just go on the site justforhunting.com and find everything they need there. Talk to me a little bit about California, the public land opportunity versus private. I know that most of it is private, but is there very good public land opportunity or not really?
Growing up, that's what I did was I hunted public land. I had a few private land opportunities as well. And things have changed a lot as far as private land monitoring nowadays with, not only the renting of the land for cows, but there's a lot of folks that are into the leasing of the land for hunting as well. And whether it be for a hunting club or a resource program, land management program like we do for the animals, and that's what we like to try to call it, because we give the landowners a 3-year proposal that shows continued resource and revenue. Because we're not there to, it's unfortunate that some folks will go out, they'll lease a place, and they feel obligated to get back whatever they paid, so they over-harvest it all the time, and then they go, oh, heck, I don't want to lease that anymore, there's no game, so the landowner's out. We manage ours to where if a landowner was unsatisfied with us, even at the 3-year period, there'd be plenty of game there for him to lease it to someone else and hunt. But that's the private land side of it. The public land, California really has a ton of national forest, Bureau of Land Management, BLM, as well as wilderness. So you can always find a public land hunt, whether it be deer, elk, turkeys. It's obviously not as successful, not as lucrative as private land, but like I said, I grew up hunting public land and, never really had a hard time, harvesting an animal. It's more difficult than it has been just because California's, not against the biologists, but they just don't have the resources politically to fund the management programs they need.
Sure.
So, and I mean, public land is about probably the worst public land opportunity is for pigs. I could send people on some public ground where I know there's pigs, and sure, they'd find some pig sign. In a few days' try, they might harvest a pig. But on the other side of it, on our private ground, like I said, you're usually done the first day, or at least have seen, double-digit numbers of pigs.
Parrey, you've been the Mossy Oak pro staff manager for a long time. Tell me a little bit about how that has worked for you.
Well, actually, timing, as they say in life, timing is everything, right? Well, the Just for Hunting business, I started in 2000 or 2001, somewhere in there, and it was kind of just an idea to have something to roll back onto that I enjoyed doing. I could share my passion with someone else, learning the woods, helping them with success, and have something to do when I retire, just to kind of trickle along. but what happened in 2008 is when I went aboard with Mossy Oak as the regional pro staff manager here in the West, I met a lot of new people in the outdoor industry. So with that, and obviously the great hunting opportunities we had here, I made some connections. We did some TV shows, we did some magazine stuff, some radio stuff like this, and before you know it, people see that you have some pretty good ground and high success rate, and that's what they want to do for any media stuff, television, magazine stuff like that. So and actually, making some new friendships. It's been awesome as far as Mossy Oak, because really, as far as a company, it's more of a brother type thing. It's kind of like you're on the island type thing, and everybody appreciates you, and they're all on the same wavelength of enjoying the outdoors, promoting the outdoors, and really showing everyone a better time in the outdoors.
Yeah, I've always admired the family-owned company of Mossy Oak and its founders and what have you, so I know they hire great people for sure. What hunts do you have coming up in 2016? Anything that you're looking at drawing, or any destinations you're headed to coming up?
There is quite a bit actually, and I'm sure, as being a Western guy, that you mentioned draw, and I'm sitting on 12 or 13 elk points in 3 or 4 states, 15 or 16 deer points in a couple states. So it's pretty likely I'll draw a tag, a premium tag. I've been fortunate so far to draw some premium tags in the West, and still continue. It's a kind of like no other way to describe it, but a lifelong process trying to draw a premium tag in the West nowadays. But at the same time, it kind of limits you to wonder, plan the rest of your hunts. Obviously I have some hunts that I'd like to do. Usually always have a fallback program. I was fortunate this year and have a non-resident hound hunter permit for Idaho, so that's kind of one of my bucket list things. I'd like to pursue a mountain lion for sure, but that may happen in 2016. But other than that, premium elk tags in Utah, Arizona, one of those states, possibly Oregon, premium deer in the same states, and then of course I have a lot of friends back east, so I'll do some whitetail hunting as well. But it's all a timing thing, because we're trying to run the hunting business as well, and as you know, that takes you develop a kind of a reputation, and a lot of people want to hunt with you, and I'd love to be able to hunt with every one of our clients, but that's not always the case.
Sure. Well, that gives us a really good feel for what you've got going on up there. Do you have any closing thoughts? I really appreciate you being on with us today.
Yeah, Jay, all I would say is, don't leave California out. We've got like 8 species of deer, all 3 species of elk, Rocky Mountain, Roosevelt, and Thule, and probably, obviously not the same caliber of elk as Utah, Arizona, some of those elk, but we're producing, 360 to 385, 390 elk pretty regular in the Rocky Mountain side. Believe it or not, we're producing the same caliber of elk in the Roosevelt side, 350 plus. We had, I think it was 2 years ago, a gentleman shot a 406 gross Roosevelt elk with bow and arrow. It netted like 396. It's just crazy how big they are, and that all has to do with age, of course. And then of course they kind of threw a wrench at all these guys that wanted to go for their North American 29, and that 29 is the 29th one is the Thule elk, which is only found in California, and pretty much all private ground or DFW, Division of Fish and Wildlife, ran ground. So trying to draw an elk tag in California is just as hard as some of these other states. but probably just as lucrative as far as quality harvest as well.
Sure, and you can also purchase tags rather than drawing them, can't you? You can purchase Thule tags and such.
Yeah, they're pretty sought after. Once again, being one of the North American 29 now, those guys are purchasing a landowner tag, and same with Roosevelt, same with Rocky. We have a private land management elk program on one of our ranches, and we get one tag a year. And we attempt to shoot nothing less than a 350 bull out of that herd, and we've done pretty well on that. Same with Roosevelt's. We get some landowner tags on that side as well. But as far as premium elk tags, they're in the same category as most, where they run anywhere from about $18,000 to $20,000 for those premium bull tags, anyways.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely a sought after animal. Well, Parrey, I really appreciate you being on with us and sharing all of the hunts that you offer up there. And I agree, California is a rich, abundant state full of wildlife. And actually, California has a ton of hunters. It's got a bunch of non-hunters and anti-hunters as well, but it has a ton of hunters. So it's definitely a state that is rich with history and the hunting heritage. There's a lot of it in California, a lot more than you would see, and you're not going to see it on the Kardashian show for sure, but you're gonna if you travel anywhere outside the city, you're gonna be in hunting communities and all over California.
Oh, absolutely, and it's statewide. I have to admit, I'm kind of particular to Northern California. That's where I'm from, and that's where we do most of our hunting. But like I said, the rams are in Southern California, the bighorn sheep. You have the White Mountains, good deer hunting through there, and a lot of wilderness. So it's definitely, if you have the urge to come out and hunt something in California, give us a shout. If we can't put you on one of our places, I can certainly put you someplace where you're going to have an opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being a friend of the podcast and spending your time with us. And that's justforhunting.com. That's Parrey Cremeans. And look forward to seeing you down the road. And if I don't see you, good luck turkey season. I know you're always hard after those turkeys, and hope you have a great season.
Yeah, sure. And when you get out here for turkey season, give a shout. Maybe we'll hook up and scream at a few gobblers.
That sounds good, buddy. You take care, okay? God bless you.
You too. Thank you, Jay.